Memory updated. In the heart of Delta, there was a small village named Otor-Agbaja, where everyone knew each other by name. Life was simple, and the people were content, living off the land and the river that snaked through the village. But there was one thing the villagers could never ignore: Onome's silence. Onome was a woman who kept to herself, living on the outskirts of the village in a small, thatched hut. No one knew much about her, except that she had once been wealthy, but had lost everything after a tragic incident that left her a widow. Some said she had turned bitter, others whispered that she was cursed, but no one dared to ask her directly. The village children were warned to stay away from her, and adults gave her a wide berth, casting furtive glances when they passed by. One day, a severe drought struck Otor-Agbaja, drying up the river and withering the crops. The villagers were desperate, their once lush fields now barren. The drought had no mercy, and soon hunger crept into every home. The elders called for a gathering to find a solution, but despite their best efforts, they could do nothing to bring rain to the parched land. While the villagers struggled, Onome remained in her hut, untouched by the desperation around her. Many believed she had a secret stash of food and water, hoarded from her better days. They resented her silence, her unwillingness to share in their suffering. But Onome, in truth, was just as desperate as the rest, her heart aching with each passing day as she watched her people suffer. One night, as the village slept, Onome was awoken by a soft knock at her door. She hesitated, her heart pounding in her chest. Who would visit her at such an hour? Cautiously, she opened the door to find a young girl, no more than 10 years old, standing there with tears in her eyes. "Please, Ma," the girl whispered, "my family has no food. My baby brother is sick, and my mother sent me to ask for your help." Onome's first instinct was to turn the girl away, to protect the little she had left. But something in the child's eyes softened her heart. She had once been a mother, too, and she knew the pain of watching a child suffer. With a heavy sigh, she invited the girl inside and offered her the last of her food, a small bowl of gari and some dried fish. The girl ate quickly, and Onome watched, feeling a mix of sadness and relief. "Take this back to your mother," Onome said, handing the girl a small bundle of what remained of her provisions. "Tell her to stay strong." The girl thanked her profusely before disappearing into the night. Onome closed the door, a sense of emptiness settling over her. She had nothing left, but for the first time in years, she felt a strange sense of peace. The next morning, as the village gathered once more to discuss their dire situation, something miraculous happened. Dark clouds began to gather overhead, and within minutes, the heavens opened up, releasing a torrential downpour. The villagers rejoiced, dancing in the rain, their spirits lifted by the sudden blessing. But it wasn't until later that day that they discovered the true miracle. The young girl Onome had helped return to her with a basket full of food, sent by her grateful mother and neighbors. Word of Onome's kindness spread through the village like wildfire, and soon, everyone came to offer her what little they could spare. The village had been saved, not just by the rain, but by the act of compassion that had melted the hardened hearts of the people. From that day on, Onome was no longer the woman who lived on the outskirts, but a cherished member of the community, proving that even in the darkest times, helping the needy can bring light to all.